And it's time for Lefties Losing It. And they're not only losing their minds, their tenuous grip on reality and their moral compass, lefties are also losing their jobs. Painfully unfunny, low-rating, tedious, afflicted comic Jimmy Kimmel is off air indefinitely, perhaps forever, after his shocking remarks regarding conservatives, regarding Charlie Kirk and the alleged assassin.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
And if that wasn't bad enough, he thought it'd be a good idea to launch into a diatribe mocking President Donald Trump's grief for Charlie. Jimmy got hit with the karma truck and perhaps he should have listened to his own advice. Only last month, he was speaking with fellow tedious afflicted comic Sarah Silverman and decrying those on the left who are repelling people from the Democrats, repelling them by saying awful stuff. Look in the mirror, Jimmy.
It's the loud voices that scare people from saying what they believe and make you think twice about a joke or whatever, these things. And, a lot of their points are valid, but a lot of them are also just repulsive. And I mean, they repel people.
And during that chat, we found out just how demented these two are because they are still bleating about fleeing the country, fleeing Trump's America. What are they waiting for? Be gone, miscreants.
Well, a lot of people I know are thinking about where they can get citizenship. And
I do have Italian. I did get Italian citizenship.
You do?
I do.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, I do have that. And what's going on is as bad as you thought it was going to be.
Way worse.
It's so much worse. It's just unbelievable. Like, I feel like it's probably even worse than he would like it to be.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I do, every once in a while, I'll Google Trump regrets or MAGA regrets just to see all the people that I'm not happy that they're upset and but it makes me hope that maybe this will bring people together.
These people are divorced from reality. They're almost beyond parody. I mean, how do you even mock that? For the record, every poll of Republican voters shows that there is no regret, that Republicans are terribly happy with their man. And those two miserable moaners also said that Trump's America is so much worse than their worst fears. But they're still in America. They have all the money, all the resources in the world to live wherever they want, and they remain in America. Now let's hear from Kamala's former boyfriend, Montel Williams, who had this sick take on Tyler Robinson.
I don't believe he was motivated politically. I think this was motivated emotionally. I think this was a emotionally stunted person who literally, when I say it this way, just hear me, tried to defend his significant other, not trying to defend some ideology.
But although I do think there's clearly an ideological difference. So that's why I played about what they said about the family. I mean, the ideological difference that he was reacting to.
Now, the media lies and lies by omission continue, but every now and then they get called out. Listen here as Ted Cruz takes on Caitlin Collins. Absurd claims that we have no idea why Charlie was murdered. The motives are unclear.
You said a lot there, and we don't have a motive yet. We don't know yet. We're waiting. Obviously, we've heard what the governor's had to say, what the FBI director said today.
Come on, we don't have a motive yet.
We know.
We don't have a motive yet.
What's happening with?
Really, that's CNN's position.
I mean, from law enforcement,
he just happened
Senator.
to fire the gun in celebration. You can't tell the motive.
Senator, that's not what I said, and I said law enforcement hasn't laid out a direct motive. They've laid out a lot of evidence here of these messages and what
actually
the
they
shooter
have.
said to
They've said that
family
he was a
members
left-wing
and to
activist who
roommates.
hated Charlie Kirk.
Yes, an absolute lie on CNN. Authorities have been clear in telling us that this individual was a far-left radical who hated Charlie and the so-called hateful message he was spreading, i.e. the truth. But Caitlin was determined to be embarrassed again. Watch her double down by making objectively false claims.
I'm saying that law enforcement has not put a specific motive. You know that there's a difference of what they're putting in a legal argument than what you're talking about. And you're not even, we're not even arguing about the facts here.
What you just said is false,
Senator,
Caitlin.
No.
Caitlin, facts. Hold on a second. Let me answer your statement, because what you said is factually
Senator, with
false.
all due respect,
law enforcement.
With all due respect, you're putting a lot of statements
go ahead,
that I did not say. And I want to get back to, we just laid out the facts.
You
in the
just
opening
said
of the
law
show,
enforcement has not made out a motive. That is objectively false.
We just spoke to the Deputy Attorney General.
That is objectively false.
They have not said a concrete motive of exactly what it was.
And
They've laid out
CNN should
every
not be
evidence that we
engaged in
know so far.
misinformation. Caitlin, answer my question.
It's not
Have you seen the polling
Senator.
that shows the vast majority of Democrats believe this murderer is a Republican and a Trump supporter? Have you seen that polling?
Let me get back to my questions, though, Senator, because the question here
You're not going to answer that
was
question?
actually
Are you going to answer
what
that
you were
question?
saying
You
about
have seen that
investigations
polling.
that you'd like to see.
So you're not going to
Senator,
answer the
I'm the
question.
one asking the questions here.
Yes, you are asking the questions and answering them yourself, Caitlin. Will we hear from Senator Cruz at some point, I wonder? Will he be allowed to utter a single sentence without Caitlin talking over him?
And the question...
No, we're having a conversation. I understand that you want to say things that are factually false, and then you don't actually want the facts. You don't actually want the facts laid out.
Now, to round off lefties for the week, a week where we have been told to lower the temperature, where we've been told to calm down after one of our brightest, one of our most brilliant and most decent stars was assassinated, after we've watched his murder be celebrated, where we've watched the media lie, straight out lie about the alleged assassin and his motives, as well as lie about Charlie. They want us to come together, to be unified with those who want to see us dead. Well, Vice President JD Vance addressed those sentiments. He wants unity, but first we have to acknowledge the truth.
Something has gone very wrong with a lunatic fringe, a minority, but a growing and powerful minority on the far left. There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Did you know that the George Soros Open Society Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article justifying Charlie's death, do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us? By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country.
Joining me now is political advisor and commentator CJ Pearson. CJ, Charlie Kirk was instrumental in JD Vance becoming vice president. JD Vance has said that himself. He wouldn't be VP without Charlie. And what the vice president said there was powerful and undeniably true, and he named names.
You know, you're exactly right. You know, there's been a lot of talk about so-called coexistence on the left, but I got to tell you, when it comes to this political violence issue, there's a lot of folks in the media who try to make this a both sides issue. But here's the deal, to me at least, and I think to a lot of people here in the West, is that these bullets are only going from left to right. You know, you look at they didn't try to kill President Trump once, they tried to kill him twice. You look at the fact of the congressional baseball shooting that happened just a few years ago when they tried to kill Majority Leader Steve Scalise. That was a leftist. And you look at what happened with Charlie Kirk. That was, again, a leftist. These people need to condemn political violence. These people need to rid themselves of the hate that fills their heart. And so when you talk about whether or not this is a both sides issue, yes, both sides should condemn political violence. But again, we cannot ignore the fact that it is disproportionately put those on the left that are committing these egregious acts of violence. And we ought to stand up for it.